all, my name is Zoe Caruso, and today we'll be going over dependent and independent variables. To begin, what do these words mean to you? Allison, what is the first thing you think of when you think of dependent?
When I think of the word dependent, I think about how I am a dependent of my parents.
Correct. Great job. And Sophie, what do you think of when you think of the word independent?
I think of having independence, so being on your own.
Perfect. So that is easily translatable to the different types of variables. The dependent variable is the variable whose value depends on that of another. It's like a child depending on their parents. It is the response. The independent variable is a variable whose value does not depend on that of another. This is what is manipulated in an experiment. To help me keep these definitions in my head, I use the term dry mix. The dry is the dependent variable side, and the mix is the independent variable side. So let's go through it. D stands for dependent, R stands for response, and Y stands for the y-axis. So if you're going to plot this on a graph, this is the axis you'd want the dependent variable to be on. For the mix, M stands for manipulated, I stands for independent, and the X stands for the x-axis. If you're going to graph this variable, this is what you'd want to graph it on. So let's practice. Allison tries different types of fertilizer to see which one will grow the biggest sunflowers. Allison, can you tell me the dependent variable in this scenario?
When you manipulate the fertilizer, the height of the sunflowers is what changes. So I'm going to say the height of the sunflowers is the dependent variable.
Perfect. Now let's try a little bit of a word problem. Will tries different study techniques to see which one will help him remember test content better. One test, he uses flashcards. On the next, Will tries Quizlet, and on the one after that, he tries studying with friends. After the 3 tests, he compares the grades to see what was the more effective study technique. Will, can you tell me the independent variable in this scenario?
The test grades?
Try again and try to think of what is being manipulated in this scenario.
Is it the study techniques?
Exactly. So we have reached the ends of the scenarios. Does anyone have any questions? Allison?
Do you have another memory technique for this?
Yes, I do. I don't have another mnemonic device, but I have little tips and tricks that help me remember. So whenever you think of the independent variable, manipulate has the I in it. So I manipulate. Independent, manipulate. And then the dependent variable depends. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. So we're going to conclude this with a little bit of a chant. So we're going to chant dry mix. I'm going to say the letters and you're going to say what they mean. For example, I'll say, give me a D, and you guys will say dependent. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's try it. Give me a D.
Dependent.
Dependent.
Give me an R.
Response.
Give me a Y.
Y-axis.
Y-axis.
Give me an M.
Manipulate.
Integrated.
Give me an I.
Independent.
Independent.
Give me an X.
X-axis.
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 Perfect. Great job,
Woo.
guys. You have done super well, and I'm very proud of all of you. Thank you so much for coming. Bye.